Victory, Marty Miller. Shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you, first one in here. All right, man. We're gonna get this thing cracking in a couple of minutes, man. How are you, man? You missed a good one yesterday. We all missed you. I'm sure you were probably with the family as you would imagine in this time of the year. This time of the year, yeah, you know, a lot of people are off. A lot of people are using it to spend time with their family. Obviously, it's used to celebrate Christmas, but nonetheless, he says, I know, sucked. I missed that one. Didn't see you went live until way later. Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right? You know, sometimes the notifications come in or they don't. I don't know what it is. I think what YouTube is trying to do is trying to manage their traffic in some kind of way, right? There's a certain traffic management that they are trying to pursue, right? They don't want to oversaturate it, or I don't know, man. Or if they feel that, you know, a certain algorithm is, you know, kicking in at this time, then we're going to go with this and, you know, this, that, and the other. I mean, you know, there's a lot that kind of goes into it, but I tell you what, man, speaking of algorithm, right? I'm going to talk about something a whole lot more different today than what people are talking about. Andrew Tate's fanboys sort of coping, right? It's a little more complicated than that. It's a little more complicated than, let's say, just coping. There's also aspects of, well, did you ever explore at the idea that perhaps maybe Andrew Tate is not a star, right? Because when I looked at that arena, it didn't look impressive to me, right? Now, when you looked at the Jake and the Anthony Joshua fight, you're like, wow, okay, you know why Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua's people come show out for them, right? Like, you know these two guys are superstars. You know that Anthony Joshua is a somebody in his part of the world. You know that Jake Paul is a somebody everywhere in the world. But yeah, Andrew Tate, fanboys. All right, we will be on in a couple of minutes, so bear with me here. Okay, we will be on in less than 2 minutes. All right, there we go. Simple as. Okay, just getting the thumbnail going right now.
Big trucks are dangerous, and they can cause big, bad injuries.
By the way, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get it cracking in just a couple of minutes here. All right, perfect. We have ourselves all right, we now have ourselves a live stream going on right now. So, what's with all the Andrew Tate fanboys out there right now coping with this entire loss, right? That is what we're going to talk about. There's also a lot of people that are sort of throwing shades at him. He says, why is there a ghost talking to me? He says, yo, what's up, dude? Shout outs to Austin Ortiz. Austin Ortiz, let me know what part of the world you are from, my man. Welcome. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to get it cracking right now, because there seems to be a lot of Andrew Tate fanboys coping with his loss right now, okay? And why is that? Let's be honest about something, right? Andrew Tate has become a generational nightmare and yet a generational inspiration for many men around the world. I'm going to tell you the type of void that Andrew Tate sort of gives to the entire world, right? There is this ongoing problem with feminism around the world, and these are things that Andrew Tate is talking about that is absolutely correct, undeniable. There is a certain level of misaccountability from women that come from Western cultures, and Andrew Tate has pointed that out. He has also used Islam as a personal religion. He's also used it as a personal gate. For example, many people are saying that Andrew Tate is not really a Muslim. He's not really about the faith the way that, let's say, normal Western converts sort of delve into the religion in a very fundamental way, and sometimes even in a very radical way. Okay, for example, if you look at ISIS back in 2014, the majority of their recruits were Western converts. White or black or Hispanic or other types of Muslim converts from around the world, right? Traveling to Syria to fight for the Islamic State. This is something that happened in 2014, right? But aside from the radicals of the religion, what up, Unc? Shout outs to McDaddy. Shout outs to you. Welcome. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get it cracking right here. So it's not to say that most Western converts are radical, but if they're not radical, there's a certain level of fundamentalism that they exhibit, right? And I don't mean the violent side of it. I'm talking about just the basics of the religion, which I don't see Andrew Tate do. For example, Andrew Tate espouses a lot of white nationalist views, which, by the way, are antiquatedly oppositional towards the Islamic faith, no matter how you cut it. Being friends with Tommy Robinson, that's a big no-no. On top of that, the fact that Tommy Robinson hates Muslims, hates the Islamic faith, even though he grew up with Andrew Tate in the same hood of Luton, he doesn't view Andrew Tate's religious conversion as anything serious, which is crazy. But he may not be crazy, he may be true. He says, what white nationalist views? Just curious. Well, for example, Andrew Tate has this fear of white people depopulating themselves, right? He has this fear. Why does this matter to you? In fact, here's the thing about this whole white scarcity thing that a lot of people are sort of pointing at, right? Especially a lot of white nationalists. I don't think none of it is real. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people out there who believe it, I don't think they hang out with enough white people to really understand that this is not a problem. Okay? Now, even you, Mark Haney, you live in the Bay Area. I'm sure there's a huge, well, not huge, but a good contingency of a white Anglo population in San Francisco, right? In the Bay Area, in Marin County. People who have Anglo-Saxon backgrounds or second-generation wealthy people. And then you can add white Jews into that, right? Do these people look like they're having problems reproducing kids? I don't think so. So this whole idea of, oh, the white man is no longer having kids, or the white woman is out mating or marrying other people. Yes, that's true, but for the most part, I don't know what to tell these white nationalists other than the fact that, listen, guys, there is no white depopulation going on, right? And Andrew Tate seems to believe that, because what exactly does he do? He goes and regurgitates white nationalist points. And then here's this idiot right here in the chat talking about deport. Little does he know that I'm obviously a full-blown citizen. I mean, oh man, shout out to Savachi Financial. I mean, listen, NC Law Dog, yeah, talking about deport. You idiot, I'm an American citizen. Not only that, I don't think you even knew I was a former United States Marine, so I don't even understand who you're talking about deporting. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean, right? The problem with white nationalist ideals is that it's just plain old retarded. Okay, and the problem is that Donald Trump got y'all thinking that college is not the way to go, right? Which is why a lot of you are dumbing down. And then on top of that, the fact that a lot of you are dumbing down, you look at the opposite side of that. He's bringing his kids into Ivy League schools, all of his kids, from Eric Trump to Donald Trump Jr. to Ivanka, to all of them, right? Including Barron Trump, the son that lives with them. They literally went to Ivy League colleges, and yet Trump is selling to white America right now. You guys don't need to go to college. You guys don't, okay, then don't go to college, be dumb. All right, miss out on all the potential networks that you could build, from sports management to finance to geopolitics to political science or academia or whatever field you want to get into. Savachi Financial says they don't have enough population to sustain themselves. Savachi Financial, what about Tone Trump? Tone Trump. Remind me who that is again. Remind me who Tone Trump is again. Or is that a person that he says Victory College is kind of a scam these days? Yeah, I respectfully disagree, right? To a certain extent, I do agree, and then I don't. And the only reason why I don't agree is because from my own anecdotal experience, everything that I've gained when it comes to networks in sports, in entertainment, in the world of public relations, in the world of politics, right? Having the chance to intern for a state assemblyman, right? None of these things would come without college. Do you think that a state assemblyman would try and somehow take me in as an intern if I was not doing it for Sac State University or something like that, right? So that's the only reason why I disagree with it. So he says, well, you're a Muslim, bro, so your logic is compromised. Well, what exactly are we compromised about? Please, I'm asking you respectfully, so please give me an elaborative explanation so that we can further look at these contexts. Victory says, I have so many friends with degrees and can't find a job worth a damn. Well, here's the thing with that, Victory, right? Marty. Did they ever think about relocating? Okay? Because here's the thing about this, right? He says, bro, thanks. He's somebody, SMH. Well, I tell you what, Excited Solar, what exactly do you mean by I think that I'm somebody? I mean, look, to be honest with you, I probably live a higher standard of living than you do. And I'm not saying that to be braggadocious or anything like that, or to be mean, or to be upset or angry or anything like that. I'm just speaking facts. Like, I live in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Sacramento. Like, that's not, I mean, that's just the reality of it, my man. I'm obviously going to have a higher standard than you, so I don't understand when you say that, like, oh, you think I'm somebody or this and that. I don't think I'm anybody. I'm a guy that likes mixed martial arts, that has experience in different fields of training, whether that would be martial arts, whether that would be military firearms training, this, that, and the other. And then on, he says, I live in Pebble Beach. Good for you. But do you know what the difference is between you and me? Here's the thing, right? I don't know you from a can of paint. But if I'm going to, let's say, entertain the idea that you actually do live in Pebble Beach, he says, retired 18 Bravo. Okay, great. Here's the difference between you and me. You don't have a YouTube channel. Yes, you are a returned combat vet. Great. You don't have a YouTube channel. Think about that. Okay, that's the only difference between you and me. Yes, I'm sure you probably live better than me in Pebble Beach, and mind you, Pebble Beach is a very beautiful place. Okay, and great, you're a retired vet. That's awesome. But the difference is you're the one that's on my channel right now talking to me, and then you're trying to diminish it by calling me, oh, you're a big man, this and that, this, that, and the other. But the reality is you don't have a profile pic. We don't know if you're telling the truth or not. He says, do you have billions in Bitcoins at the age of 29? Yeah, again, with this whole Bitcoin thing, actually, look, bro, listen, here's the thing, right? Shrewberry asks if you've been to Hawaii. I have, yes. Patty says, you don't have any training experience. It's obvious looking at you, your chest, you can't. Bro, listen, do not let the camera angle fool you. Like, I don't think you understand the type of training that I've done here. And I mean, like, you really missed out on a lot of training videos that I have in here. You would get killed, okay, doing the type of training that I do. You know, like, are you out of your mind, bro? Like, first of all, you don't have the rhythm that I have. You don't have, he says 2008 was a good year. He says, you shouldn't have said that, Patty. Yeah, he says, do 4 push-ups right now. Flex on him, Kyrie. Bitch, I would hurt you, bro. I would absolutely hurt you, Patty. I would absolutely hurt you. Okay, he says, I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. Good for you. Here's the thing, Solar. You can tell me, bro is a noob. You can tell me you're a Bitcoin billionaire by 29. You're 6'4". You know, you are from 18 Bravo. You're a retired vet and this and that. Okay, the thing is, and then you run a 7-mile, you know, a 7-minute mile. No one is really going to know that right now. Because look, if I look at your channel right now, I look at your channel, you have 2 subscribers, and you joined 2 years ago. That's the only thing that I know about you. Okay? Like, you don't have a social media presence. You don't have a LinkedIn. You don't have any of that. I don't know anything about you. He says, you just got mugged, bro. Take the L, end alive. How about this? How about I kick you out of this channel right now? Like that. See? Just like that. I get you out of here 24 hours and then you're gone. And an Excited Solar, how about this? You're not really anybody. We don't really know you from a can of paint. So how about this? Boom. Up out of here, you're gone. So now there it is. Now you just got to watch me from afar, and you're going to have to live with the reality of the lies or the truth that you say. If you say that you live in Pebble Beach, great. If you say that you are 18 Bravo, great. But nobody really knows that. No one really knows that. He says, coward, kicking people out who call out your BS. Bro, listen to me, bro. We're going to pull out receipts, okay? We're going to pull out receipts right now. Okay, let's start with this, okay? This is my recovery time. Do you know what this means? He says that Patty guy has Brad Martin energy. Yeah, okay, whatever. Do you know what this means? This means I'm a high-level athlete, you idiot. Okay, having a recovery time like that means I'm a high-level athlete. Okay, the majority of people have, you know, BPMs somewhere around the 40s. I have mine in 27. That is freaking low. Okay, that is a professional athlete's BPM. And then here's another thing. Here's another thing, you idiot, talking about this, that, and the other. Okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to go on a scam live right now, and I'm just going to put on my training sessions. How about that, right? Well, I'm going to put on my training sessions, and then you're going to watch it, and that's it. Hopefully we'll get everybody back in.
Hey, buddy. Sorry I took the last day.
That's okay. I'm sorry I cut your brake lines. Hands off my halos.
Some cookies sweeten your holidays, while the wrong ones...
Look at that, 100 pounds. Is Kyrie on steroids? Why does he snap so easily? Look at this. This is 100 pounds. Can you do this? Could you jump like that? Fucking idiot. Could you jump like that? Look at that. Could you do that? Man, listen, you're not in my physical... Listen, I urge you guys to, if you don't want to listen to none of this, go on the training sessions that I do on the live stream. He says, no, you belong in the NBA. My bad. Bro, I told you, I am an elite athlete. Like, I don't know why you think that because I sit in a certain type of, angle that you can somehow think, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe because my face is thick, or maybe my beard makes my face look thick. But the reality is, I would fuck you up in real life. Okay, you're inferior to me. You're physically inferior to me. Okay, that's the reality of it. I've trained with the best athletes in the world. Okay, when I was born in Libya, I drank camel's milk, okay, which is, by the way, is a literal fountain of youth. I've drank camel's milk when I was, I think, 1 year old. He says it was one of his guys in the LFA, I think. Okay, he says, yeah, you're very sensitive. Well, here's the thing, right? It's not sensitivity. It's just bringing out receipts. And then here's another receipt that I wanted to show you. By the way, just so you guys know, I have fought before, right? You know what I mean? And still train till this day, which is, what's more important. I'm not one of these guys that goes back into my past. Oh, and by the way, this is me in Santa Monica, idiots. That's me in Santa Monica. Look at that. Look at that. Could you draw a crowd like that in Santa Monica? Could you guys even climb a rope? Could you even climb a rope? Okay, that's me all the way to the top, right? Just like what I'm going to do in YouTube. Yeah. He says, yeah, they'll use something probably. What are we talking about here? Still talking about doing push-ups. Bro, I could do 100 push-ups nonstop right here. But I'm not going to get up for you. I'm not your little clown circus or this, that, and the other. I'm just here to show you that, you know what, I fought, I trained, and I still continue to train till this day. That's the reality of it. Okay, so this is me right here. I've fought MMA. I've fought kickboxing. I've broken people's ribs inside of the name. Oh, yeah, and then that's me training with one of the best in the world, by the way, Uriah Faber, and that's that, okay? So, once again, I have done receipts. He says, Davey Josie, you cannot do 100 push-ups. I can do 100 push-ups, yeah. That is like the easiest thing to do. Like, I don't understand. Like, see, here's the thing, right? You guys use push-ups and bench pressing as some sort of way to cope with the idea of, oh, I'm tougher than you or this and that. Bro, come on. He says, what's the worst injuries? I don't know, man. There's all types of injuries. He says, do it in a row with good form. Yeah, I mean, look. Shut the fuck up, Davey. Really, shut up. Okay, like shut the hell up. Like, again, why do I need to respond to, look, here's what it is, right? If you want to be worth anything, this is what I need you to do. If you need me to respond to you, if I don't know you in real life, okay, and you want me to respond to you, get a freaking profile pic. Because you obviously know what I look like, okay, because I'm here in the camera in front of all of you. And then on top of that, listen, here's what it is, right? Davy Josie, you're up out of here, okay? You're blocked. Patty Whacker, you're blocked. All of you are blocked right now, okay? That's it. That's it. I'm not going to deal with this stupid negativity that you do. He says you look like a guy who can't do push-ups. I can do more than push-ups. You idiot. I just showed you my training video. You freaking idiot. I just showed you my training video. I'm an elite athlete compared to you. You can't jump higher than me. You can't lift more than me. You can't outbox me. You certainly can't beat me in a fight. You wouldn't even have... Bro, listen. Put up a video of you shadow boxing right now and upload it. I'm waiting. Let's react to it in the show. He says, thank you for... Shout out to you, my man. Yeah, show me right now. Show me a video of you shadow boxing. Let's do it. Show me a video of you shadow boxing. Otherwise, you ain't worth talking to. That's an AI video. Okay, so now you're going to cope with that. That's an AI video of me training. This is an AI video of me training. Do you know how stupid you sound? Do you honestly know how stupid you sound? Show you what? Did I not just show you my fight pics and my training pics? Man, get the hell up out of here. Get the hell up out of here. Did I not just show you my fight pics and my training pics? You idiot. And then here's the thing. I'm not going to deal with this stupidity, okay? I'm not going to deal with this stupidity whatsoever. Here's what it is. There it is. There it is. Anybody else want to say something stupid right now? Okay? Because once I show you receipts, and then here's another thing. You foolish idiots. Okay? Where is that? Here's another thing I want to show you right here. What parts of the world have you been? Losers. All of you are losers. And you know what? I'm glad that we had a little bit of that spat, because this kind of goes into the topic that I'm talking about anyway, right? The topic today is obviously there's a lot of people that are coping for Andrew Tate, but there's also a lot of people that are a bunch of wussies like yourselves, like, I'm not even going to mention your names on the chats. You're all a bunch of losers. That's all there is to it. You have nothing going on. You ain't got no money. You're broke. Okay, you probably don't have $1,000 in your bank account right now. You're probably struggling with bills, and you're a bum. And you're watching me because you got nothing else better than you. You're watching me because you know deep in your mind that, let's just be honest about it, I'm better than you. I'm physically better than you. I'm mentally better than you. I'm sharper than you. You could tell by the way that I talk. You could tell by the way that I walk. You could tell by the way that I do my swag, do my thing, and this, that, and the other, that I'm just a better human being than you, and that's just it. Patty Whacker. What a dumb name. And then you don't even got no profile pic. You ain't got no profile pic. You ain't got none of that. You got nothing going on. Imagine that. Imagine how dumb you would have to be that you have to come into somebody's site to feel better about yourself. So there it is. You're gone. Go troll MMA Guru, okay? Because I'm not here for none of that. I'm not here for none of that. He says, can I ask some dating advice? King Ku, the GOAT. Okay, well, sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. It's not the type of advice that I give. I mean, look, the only advice that I could give you is be yourself, right? Like, I think dating advices are, you know, like, that's like asking, give me an advice on how to ride a bike. I think everybody knows how to ride a bike at a certain age, right? Kinku says, I'm seeing a girl and she wants me to put in the, okay, but I don't want, okay, so what I can tell you is that sodomy is haram in Islam, so there you go, right? Any other stupid questions that you guys want to ask? I'm sorry, but that's a very stupid question. What I will say, though, is at least you are respectful about it. It's a stupid question, but you are respectful about it, but it's still a stupid question, right? You're asking this question to try and invoke some kind of laughter or some kind of, I don't know what it is that you're trying to invoke, but yeah. You know what? You're banned too. You're banned. Okay, I'm gonna ban you as well. I'm gonna ban you because I'm not gonna take any of this like sodomy talk or any of this dirty talk or this and that and the other. You know, go to some channel with some dumb white boy that thinks, you know, it's funny to make gay jokes. Why don't you go do that? This is not the channel for that, homie. He says, I don't want to. I can't stop thinking. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're a disgusting human being and you probably have AIDS. You understand? Maybe you need to go get checked out. You need to go get checked out. You know what? Instead of talking about this Andrew Tate thing, I think we should just have fun with this, right? Let's just have everybody in the chat come and, he says, LOL, censorship. What you mean censorship? He says, freedom of speech. Man, listen. Do you honestly think anybody really believes in freedom of speech? I mean, look. I believe in it to a certain extent, but I would be lying if I said that, you know what, let's say I was the king of Saudi Arabia, right? Let's say if I was the king of the Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Qatar. 100%, if you talk smack about me, I'll send Navy SEALs to come and end your life. That's really all there is to it. I would send special forces to come end your life. I would have the intelligence service ruin your life, ruin your entire family's life, just for talking bad about me. He says, King Ku says, I'm pro-Islam. That's great. I don't care. You know who else is pro-Islam? The LBGT community. But do you think that I care about their, what do you call it, their support for Palestine? I really don't care. I really don't care. By the end of the day, you're still a disgusting human being. You still talk a whole bunch of disgusting stuff. You know what I mean? And I could only imagine what you are in real life. He says, good point. Yeah, that's what I mean. Look, that's a whole subject for another, you know, for another topic right there, right? The useful idiots, right? So you say that you're pro-Islam, but yet you're here talking about sodomy and all these other disgusting toilet conversations. So therefore, you're a useful idiot. That's just what you are. If you're pro-Islam, great. Continue to go out there and risk your life protesting in the name of Palestine. Go ahead and continue to do that, okay? Because I'll watch from a distance while ICE tries to deport you, or worse, the cops brutalize you if they don't get you up out of here. He says, oh, a hot one too. Okay, yeah. Gordo Tech says, these guys are just trying to get a rise out of you. No, that's great. Bring it, man. Bring it. I'm all for it. Listen, I can easily ignore you and get you up out of here because that's basically what I did to the other guys earlier, right? You know, I just felt that they were nothing more than a distraction. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? The way that these conversations are evolving, it sort of correlates to everything that we can talk about with Andrew Tate, right? It sort of correlates to a lot of that. And look, the people are loving it, right? Every time I roast somebody, every time I get at someone, you know, guess what? People start to like it. People start to bring more viewership in here. He says, Guru always goes at trolls. Yeah, look, here's another thing about MMA Guru, right? You know, let's stop with these MMA Guru examples or comparisons, right? He does get at trolls, but at the same time, he doesn't. And that's where the comparison stops. MMA Guru is a typical white boy who loves self-deprecation. Okay, he says, do you do MMA talk? I do, my man. So I hope that when we do have MMA discussions, that you can actually be a mature adult about it instead of a petulant child who just comes in here and makes, you know, poo-poo jokes for the sake of his own entertainment and for the sake of his own amusement. But by the end of the day, look, here's the thing with MMA Guru. He loves when people self-sabotage him. That's not what I'm about. He says that's your competition, know the enemy. That's right. Yes. MMA Guru is the enemy, point blank period. He's anti-Muslim to the highest order, right? And then on top of that, you know, the guy uses sensationalism to try and garner views. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to do that, but there are certain things, like for example, let's be real about this whole John Jones thing, right? If there was a story where John Jones was actually caught, let's say, doing P. Diddy stuff, right? In the example of when P. Diddy was saying to Fabulous at an interview, at a podcast interview with Nori, he said, hey, man, when we really gonna party? No, like really party. Yeah, like really party. Okay, that's sus, okay? But to say that John Jones is just flat out gay because there's not going to be a lot of MMA news cycles going on, it's stupid. I'm not all for it. And the only people that are really all for it are MMA casuals. I'm not going to get into that conversation. We know John Jones is not gay. And here's another thing. A lot of you guys, you really need a reality check about this. If John Jones wanted to, John Jones could take your bitch. That's really all there is to it. Like John Jones could take your bitch, okay? That's really all there is to it. Because the majority of you are beta males. So let's be honest about that. So, you know, to call the guy gay or this and that, I mean, it's just coping with the fact that he's a bigger alpha male than you ever will be. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to get into these stories. I'm not going to call a guy who is one of the most dangerous men in the world gay. Like, that's a stupid-ass story. And you know what? That does nothing but create disservice for the world of MMA. First of all, I'm very consistent with this, okay? Because I told you I did not like it when Nina Drama was doing all of this content with Alex Pereira. Okay, now, is Alex Pereira one of my favorite fighters? No. But UFC is one of my favorite sports leagues. It's one of my favorite sports, which is MMA. It's one of the things that I love. So I want it to be preserved. I want it to be promoted correctly. And I want it to have a positive image for the kids that are growing up to become an MMA fighter one day or to fight in the UFC one day. I don't want to see any of this content with MMA Guru talking about John Jones is gay. That's gay in and of itself. You calling another man gay because you have this weird standard of what you think a man is because of this, that, and the other. Oh, well, John Jones beat up his wife. Yeah, guess what? He'll beat your ass too. What do you think about that? All of you dudes that talk about, oh, this dude beat up this chick or this and that. Listen, go step up to Gervonta Davis. Tell me how that works out. Tell me how that works out. Go step to John Jones, okay, and tell him, hey, bitch-ass John Jones, you know, you are a woman beater and I'm going to do something about it. You know what he's going to do? Bow! Like that, an elbow right in your stupid head. Okay, that's what he's going to do. So all of this talk about, wow, you know, he's this or he's that, man, I'm not going to do content like that. Now, here's the thing. If John Jones actually really did something gay, then by all means, do content out of it. This is the kind of content that MMA Guru does. There's a boring press conference with Cyril Gahn and Tom Aspinall. What does he do? What does he do? He goes and creates stories about, oh, you know what? John Jones appeared out of nowhere with, you know, a steel chair. Like, created this whole entire pro wrestling storyline to recap that press conference. And that is not the kind of, you know, that is not the kind of content that I'm down with. Let's read some of these comments right here. He says, you will just need to buy Paramount subscription to watch them. He says, no kidding, badass. There are more pay-per-views. All cards will be on Paramount. Okay, so all fights except pay-per-view. MMA Guru is racist and Islamophobic, I think is a proper word you mean. He says, yeah, all the fights will be on Paramount starting January. Well, something is going on with John Jones if you watch that Hezbollah video. Okay, you know what, Marty, I'll entertain that, right? That is kind of weird that John Jones had a hard-on while he was hanging around Hezbollah. But I will say, it's not, you know what, man, listen, it's not that it's right. Now, this has never happened to me, right? But I've seen this happen to other guys. I've been in wrestling rooms where guys got hard while they were wrestling another guy, right? Now, you know, is that, I mean, the optics of that is just, you know, horrible, right? It is absolutely horrible. But it doesn't mean that John Jones was trying to molest Hezbollah. You know, again, I don't know how I can get down with that. Gordo Tech says, hey, man, I have a UFC question. Are the fights moving from ESPN to Paramount? Okay, so that's Marty basically answering these for you. He says, sure, man, I'm looking forward to it. Gordo, thanks, man. I got rid of the ESPN last year and missing it because of UFC. I like watching the old Tough. He says BBCs and all of that gross stuff. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, listen. Jackie Moon, okay, I'm going to put you on timeout for 5 minutes, so I'm not going to kick you out for the whole entire time, but you get 5 minutes. Just because, you know, I think your comment is really stupid and unhelpful. So anytime you have a stupid comment, I'm going to chastise you, and I'm going to scold you, and then I'm literally going to metaphorically undress you in front of everybody here and let you know what's up. So that's it. And Fresh Mellinger says, all wrestlers are gay. The hug men more than women. Yeah, look, dude. All right, back. Muted. Okay, let's all right, back. Muted. Okay, so I want to answer the question for King. Right? He asked why didn't I get blocked? I don't know, man. You know, I maybe because you didn't really say any. I mean, you said a lot of stupid things, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, it's not that. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that serious, you know. But it's a full warning to you, is what I'm saying, right? It is a full warning to you. Don't get stupid. Don't get stupid with me, okay? Because I'll get you up out of here if you, you know, do anything stupid. Now, look, a few times it's called a banter, but then, you know, there's just pure stupidity. Go to MMA Guru's page for that. It's for, look, MMA Guru's page are for losers. I'm just going to be real about it, right? A lot of you, you know, are, you know, MMA Guru fans because, you know, let's be honest, you know, you're a loser, right? You know, you love the idea that anybody who, and I love this idea too, but, you know, thinking about it in hindsight, you know, in times that I really get annoyed, which is right now, because I'm really annoyed with a lot of things, right? He says, Kyrie is like a doorman on a power trip. Yeah, sure. Listen, Fresh, you're not exempt from this as well, okay? So, you know, please, okay? It has nothing to do with that. What I'm trying to say is that, look, I'm just not going to deal with certain type of stupidity. Right? There's a difference between banter and being funny, and then there's just pure stupidity or trying to string up a line of stupidity in order to open a gate. For example, I know a few people out there that will push the limits on you, right? And this is what they do. Next, they're going to try to push the limits on you by saying, you know, this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, they try to, you know, say something about your family, and then, you know, they get away with that. Then they get away with little bits of little bits. I don't do that, bro. I come from a very violent background where we do not allow any small increments of disrespect at all. And like I said, if you want a content creator that you could just sit there and disrespect like MMA Guru, then go to his page. This is not the page for that. I will burn you, you know, to the ground, you know, like an LA, you know, forest fire. I will literally burn you to the ground like that. You know, and that's what it is. He says, so you're going to be more like the UK and less than the USA. Huh. Okay, you know what? You made a very good point there, Fresh. Okay, so see, this is what I like. Okay, this is what I like. This is what I like. You're bringing up something very intellectual here, okay? For a long time, I used to think that the UK was very draconian in the way that they approach their government. I also thought this about the Arab states as well. And then I started to realize there is a reason why these leaders behave like the way that they do, okay? There is a reason why. There is a reason why they have certain institutions in place to curb certain types of speeches. Let's just be honest about this, right? The average English citizen doesn't own a gun, so therefore they are easily as disrespectful as anybody, right? You know, Americans, we're not disrespectful people. You know, for the most part, you know, do people say shit online that is just, you know, completely reprehensible? And then let's not even go with the Call of Duty lobbies that you hear people say the most outrageous things, right? You know, N-bomb after N-bomb after N-bomb. This is not about that. This is more about, like, understanding that certain people don't deserve freedom of speech. There, I said it. The people of the UK don't deserve freedom of speech. You want to know why? Marty says, sometimes a little banter with trolls wins them over. Yeah, okay, true. But you're right about that. Trust me, I am not off the trajectory on that, okay? I am not off that at all, right? Believe me, like, okay, put it like this, man. I'm talking real, but I'm also doing kind of a bit here too, okay? You know what I mean? So relax, okay? I got you, all right? But you're right. You know, but yeah, listen, I'm doing a little bit here, okay? You know what I mean? You see the little eye wink? Yeah, you know? Yeah, doing a little bit here. He says, all laws they implement for speech, I protect the government from the people, to protect the government from the people, not protect the people. Okay. Look, the UK doesn't deserve freedom of speech. They're a bunch of drunks, a bunch of alcoholics. Do Americans, for the most part, you know, engage in alcohol? Yes. Obviously, it's part of American society that I don't like as a Muslim, but it is what it is. This is what people do here. But here's the thing about it, right? People in the UK are so disrespectful when they get drunk. When I meet an average Englishman anywhere around the world, whether it's a beach resort in Thailand, in the Philippines, or whether they come here to the United States, or whether I see them anywhere in Europe, when they're not drunk, and especially if you see an Englishman in the Middle East, right? Because then, the beer and alcohol is just, very limited there, unless you're in a very Western part of the Middle East, such as the Emirates, maybe parts of Saudi Arabia and Qatar and whatnot. They're very well behaved, right? Very well behaved. But once they get the alcohol going, they say crazy things. They incite violence. They say things that are just going to invoke a certain level of emotions that, could cause a serious harm and violence to other people. So no, I don't think everybody deserves freedom of speech, okay? In the Arab world, where they clamp down on freedom of speech, believe it or not, I agree with what the leaders do there. I agree with what they have to do, because you people, okay, I would have to make a 4-hour podcast about it, right? You people have no idea just how extremely violent the Middle East is, okay? So maybe clamping down a little bit of some speech, is important. That's really what it is. He says that makes more sense. Censorship, yes. Yeah, bro, again, this is not for everybody. Look, do people in the Philippines deserve freedom of speech? The answer is yes. You want to know why? Here's something a little bit controversial that, kind of crosses a little bit into racial lines, right? Asians don't complain. Asians don't protest. And this is indicative of when they get discriminated out of Harvard and do absolutely nothing about it, right? They deserve freedom of speech. In fact, they will not only not abuse it, but they won't use it at all. You understand? So yeah, they deserve freedom of speech. The British don't deserve freedom of speech. Okay? The Irish certainly don't deserve freedom of speech. He says, if you say 6'7", I'll give you $100. Okay, there it is. Toothbud says, government shouldn't be telling us what to do. No, of course not. But the government has a responsibility in mitigating chaos within society. Okay, he has a responsibility of that. Toothbud says, besides keeping people safe. There you go. But that's what I'm saying, is that they have a responsibility. They have a responsibility to mitigate chaos at all cost. So that's what it is. And listen, I'm going to tell you this, right? Marty, you make a good point there. It does win trolls over and this, that, and the other. But at the same time, I don't really care about winning trolls, because remember that guy I told you that I had beef with, right? From the Don't Unfriend Me podcast. Till this day, I still watch his podcast. You want to know why? Well, why would you watch a podcast that's pro-Israeli, okay, that is against you, that probably hates Muslims on the low? Why would you watch it? Well, here's the thing. Because he's a very intelligent guy, all right? And I don't have to like you if you're an intelligent guy. You know what I am? I'm also a very intelligent guy. I'm very articulate, okay? Very good looking, okay? I'm easy on the cameras. I'm easy on the eyes. On top of that, I speak perfect English. So you are going to listen to me, whether I treat you like an asshole or not, whether I treat you all like crap or whether I treat you good, you're all going to listen to me, period. I don't need to kiss your ass, because here's the thing. I'm providing you a service. I am providing you a service. I'm providing you a service when it comes to MMA. I'm providing you a service when it comes to entertainment, because I can combine entertainment, MMA, geopolitics, and then give you some street stories. So now that's in the category of crime drama. So I can touch a lot of genres. What did Hedgie here say? This country was founded to not have a government as other countries do. Correct. But here's the thing. You know why Americans are not as rude as British people? You want to know why? You know what? I was at the barber shop the other day, right? There was this former Marine that came in. He was from Oklahoma, old guy, right? And we're talking like he served during the Gulf War. So he was in his prime years in the Gulf War, right? He said that when he living in Arkansas, it is an open carry state, right? And he says everybody there is kind and there's no road rage going on there. And I wonder why. Because everybody has an open carry. But in England, okay, these people are not around guns enough. Now, I've talked to Zane. He tells me about the streets in the UK, and he tells me that, hey, listen, you know, it's not what Americans think it is, bruv. You know what I mean? You know, we got guns and straps out here, yeah? They call them dinger. You know, hey, bruv, pass me the dinger. You know, whereas out here we call it the yaki or the strap, or you know, the Nina, you know, for 9mm, right? You know, so if like Nina Boy, the you know, the Crip podcaster, Nina Boy podcast. Nina is a name derived from, you know, having a 9. So that was his weapon of choice when he went out to combat, was, you know, his 9. So they call him Nina Boy. But yeah, we got different slangs for it. Look, all I'm saying is that the British don't have enough gun violence for them to be humble enough. Okay, so that's why I don't think they deserve freedom of speech. Here, we deserve freedom of speech because we understand that there are consequences when we run our mouth. Okay, if you come from the streets of California, you know that you're going to run across a guy that's strapped up and his homies are strapped up. And if you talk the wrong shit, you throw up the wrong gang sign, or you purposely try and agitate these guys, they're going to come after you in that type of matter, right? In a very violent manner. So Americans are inherently a lot more humble than the British. And I'm sorry if any British people are in here saying, seeing this, but I'm just being honest, right? I love Britain. I love the support that I get from the UK and Ireland, but I'm just being real. Fresh Melon Juice says, a lot of dumb people had zero problem, the West, in the past. Tooth Bud says, yeah, Sharia law can stay on that side of the pond. Free Palestine, though. Okay, fair enough comment. That's a fair enough comment. You see, that's the kind of comments that I like, right? By Tooth Buds. It's intelligent. It doesn't have to be anything that I agree upon. But he's making sense, saying, you know what, free Palestine. I don't agree with Sharia law, but I would like Palestine to be free like everybody else. So fair enough. He says that was the Jews' heady. Okay, so church members and the government. He says Catholic Church didn't even exist back then. Huh. Okay, in what context do you mean that they did not exist back then? Let me know what you mean by that. So, okay, going back to this Andrew Tate thing, right? I want to be very clear and precise about my Andrew Tate statement, right? Okay, in the wake of his loss. I don't like that Andrew Tate takes up and defends non-Muslim white Western politics. I'm not with that, right? Especially as a Muslim. I truly hate this about him, but at the same time, the Islamic Worldwide Front does not need his dawah to recruit new Muslims. Okay, and with that said, even though he lost this past weekend, okay, a lot of you no good, bitter women are still going to die single, live broke for the rest of your lives, and that's really all there is to it. Now, just because I don't agree with him on Islamic practices, it doesn't mean that I don't agree with him that a lot of you are just bitter brokies, okay? And this is sort of the conversation that we are sort of delving into as we are talking about Andrew Tate. See, here's the thing. A lot of you guys hate Andrew Tate because you're broke, okay? I hate him because of Islamic principles. We're not the same. Let me say that again. I can't stand Andrew Tate because of Islamic principles. You can't stand him because you're broke. We're not the same. I'm going to say that for the third time. You hate him because you're broke. I hate him because of Islamic principles. We're not the same. All right? Doom says, my landlord is Jewish. God bless you. I'm thinking it's my best interest to get him out of here. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? Toothbud says, I dated a Jew for 6 years. I have no hate for them, but they indeed did kill Jesus, and I disagree with what Israel is doing. Okay, fair enough. John says, I am against Islam as a religion and government because I haven't seen evidence for intelligent spiritual function. Well, John, here's the thing, right? The UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, their economy is going up. There is a reason why the United States does business with Qatar, even though Qatar does business with the Taliban. It is because they are moving up. Mark Haney says, I don't like him because he's a phony, period. Whether he pisses off Muslims, white people, using low self-esteem, lost boys as his army, LOL. Okay, very good point, Mark Haney. Tate lives in Western countries, and so do you. Why wouldn't you defend these countries? Here's the thing, right? What I will defend when it comes to these countries is from attacks, right? Like, I don't want infrastructures ruined in America. I don't want the economy for America to be ruined. I'm going to defend that. I don't need to defend your worthless leaders, and then on top of that, I don't need to defend degenerate people who want to run around naked and then do it in front of children because they're a bunch of child molesting freaks. I'm not going to defend any of that. And here's the thing, whether you like it or not, a lot of you make excuses for pedophiles. A lot of you make excuses for people that are, no good, people that go out and kill children on a daily basis, all in the name of, defending your favorite politician. He says, well, then you should fuck off to an Islamic country. How about this, Fresh? How about I don't, because I live a better life here than most of you, right? This idea, like, this is a common war cry that a lot of people do is, whenever you criticize America for anything, they say something to the effect of like, well, if you don't like it here, then get out. Well, why should I get out when I live a better life than you here? Right? I mean, look, maybe you live a better life than me. Again, I don't know you from a can of paint, but hey, I live a pretty good life, right? For whatever comparison that it's worth. I live a great life. I live in the most expensive neighborhood in Sacramento. On top of that, I'm a college graduate. On top of that, I get to go to the gym, as frequent as I want to. I get to train. I get to, keep my body healthy. I don't have to, grind myself to the conventional 9-to-5 grind that, basically, makes people bitter about their lives or this and that. I could choose to work. I could choose to stay home. I could choose to do a podcast. I could choose not to. Right? I can choose to do any of those things. So why am I going to leave a situation like that? And here's the thing. I established myself in America. I established, the type of people that I hang out here. I established, a group of people that I do business with. I established a life for myself. I established a network that can get me from, one job to another. He says, oh, you're in Sac. I went to UC Davis. Love that area. Yeah, my man. Yes. Yes, I don't live too far from the UC Davis area, but obviously I live in the Sacramento side. Here's a beautiful thing about my neighborhood and why it's expensive, right? I'm 5 minutes from the city, from that Golden Bridge that you see me constantly riding, and I show you guys in all these live streams, right? I'm constantly driving by the Golden Bridge of Sacramento every time, right? So I live by there. Right next to it is the Oakland A's stadium, and then right after that is just a whole rows of houses that are suburbs. That's where I live at. So it's half suburb. The other side of it is nothing but country. So within a 5-minute radius of where I live at, I got the countryside, the suburb side, and the city side all within a 5-minute radius of me. So why on earth would I freaking leave that when I have a better situation than most Americans here? Right? So, he says Islamic dominant countries have 30 to 65% incest rate. Life is just better here. You know that. We know that. Why hold on to people that are just horrible? Well, I don't know what you mean by holding on to people that are horrible. Of course, I think that it's great here. Yes. Is there incest practices in Islamic countries? Yes. More so with cousins, though, not necessarily with sisters or brothers or nothing to that extreme, right? But yes, with cousins. Now, that's obviously not normal here, right? You know, I'm certainly not married to a cousin of mine or anything like that. I'm certainly not a product of a cousin on cousin relationship, because obviously I'm half Arabic and something else. So, you know, that is, yeah, you know, I can only speak for myself, but for that, I'm not going to speak for people like the Dagestanis who have an 80% incest rate. I'm not going to do that, because that is what they do. That is what they choose to do. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to choose to do that. However, we still align with the same Islamic principles regardless. Truth Hurt says, answer this. Muslims don't like Western culture. Why, I think what you mean to say is live. Why live in Western countries? Why not go to the Middle East? Makes no sense. Because a lot of us here live better lives than you, okay? Most Muslim guys that I know, especially Arabic, Pakistanis, and even, you know, some African Muslims, you know, they live better lives than you. They're engineers, they're accountants, you know, they own businesses here. They bring businesses to America. So if anything, you know, some of you should really just kiss our asses as a result of that. I mean, really, let's just be real about this, right? A lot of you should really kiss our asses for being in America, because we did nothing but, you know, contribute to you. Yes, that is true. There is, look, I'm not one of these people that says that Jews did 9/11. I don't ascribe to that. It's really as simple as it was Al-Qaeda, it was Osama bin Laden, it was a bunch of hijackers that were from Saudi Arabia. That's really the truth about it. I'm not going to, you know, make mince words about that and create confusion. Okay, but at the same time, as much as Muslims have also done horrific crimes against America, so too there's a vast majority of Muslims that have contributed to America. So I can't go and speak for people that don't like it here for whatever reason they have. And there's different reasons why. Look, here's the thing, right? Truth Hurt says, okay, that's fine. You may live better lives, but why not go build in Middle Eastern desert economies? Very good question, right? The problem with that is in those countries, they do not allow you to prosper. And here's the thing. In America, they need people to prosper. So before you go and say, well, you know what, in America, they give you an opportunity to prosper. Well, here's the thing. You have no choice. You have no choice but to facilitate a path for people to be successful. You have no choice but to facilitate a path where you have a bunch of Pakistani and Arab engineers, you know, Pakistani and Arab you know, business owners and things of that nature. You have no choice but to facilitate them and to prop them up in order to make your country great, right? Well, our country. Let's just be real about this, right? This is our country, and, you know, there's a reason why I have this. You know what I have this for right here? If I want to ruin your life, I'm writing on this piece of paper. Okay, if I want to ruin your life, this is the pen that I'm going to put on a piece of paper to ruin your life. Okay, and I'm saying this for the people that know. For the people that know, they know what I'm trying to say here, right? A lot of you are thinking like, what is he talking about? He's holding up a Captain America action figure. No, I'm not. I'm holding up a pen. And for those of you that know what I use a pen for, you know what I'm saying. And for those that don't know, this is not for you to know anyway. That's really all there is to it. Right? Mark Haney says government and religion are two different things. Truth's Meshi, you can hate the government and the land, but love the religion of the people. There you go, right? Look, man, I'm sure a lot of you are not completely all that happy with the government, right? Or maybe you have criticisms towards the government. There's a lot of things that I like what the U.S. government is doing, and then there's a lot of things that I don't like, right? But it doesn't mean that I have to be 100% loyal to America, you know, just so I can, you know, live here. I mean, that's a joke. He says, good morning, Kyrie El-Kheer. You watch WWE Raw last night? No, I'm sorry, I did not. Well, you know what, man? I don't know. Now I'm compelled to watch it. You know, I'm sort of, you know, tell, yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe not tell me the results, but all right, you know what, F it. If there's anything interesting that you'd like me to take a look at, or what happened that was interesting, let me know in the comment section below. He says, absolutely, our government is trash in a lot of ways, but there isn't many places in the world better to live than the USA. Yes, bro. Here's the thing, right? Like, we know that, but I think there's a lot of people that, look, here's what I don't like about white nationalists, right? And this is why I can't stand when Andrew Tate uses white nationalism, you know, as a way to, like, you know, garner more fans in the right wing, right? Look, here's the thing about it, right? What a lot of white nationalists believe is that they built this country. Okay, well, no. On the contrary, your grandparents, your great-grandparents made the country. Okay, just because you're white, just because the ancestry... And look, here's the thing. I do not doubt that America was established by white men. I don't doubt that at all. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, well, the natives, you know, this and that, you know what I mean? Well, the natives really did nothing with it, right? I will say that in the modern context of things, you know, the white man did create this country, but also with the help of other people, okay? So let me be very clear about this. The white man created this country, but it was through the help of other people as well. He says, Tate's a fake Muslim like Zayn. Damn, bro. Listen, that's... You know what, man? He was very upset about that time, Marty. He was very upset. Very upset. Not just at you, but everyone else in the chat, right? He was very upset about that when you did that. And I understand why, right? I understand why Zayn was upset when you did that, right? Look, do I like gambling? No, I don't. I don't like gambling. But why does he gamble? Well, the reason why he has to gamble, he told you himself. But at the same time, I also told him behind the scenes, what you tell people, okay, they're going to use it against you. Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of things that I do that I don't tell people out in the open. That's not for you to know. I'm not your freaking puppet. I'm not your, you know, form of entertainment just for you to laugh at. I'm not a clown. I'm here to provide a service for you in a very intelligent and professional manner. That is what I'm here for. I'm not here for any of that. So, with that in mind, I'm not going to share you things about my life that is going to be used as leverage. No way. No way. Bro, listen. I've never served with any intelligence service. I've never, you know, done any intelligence work in the military. But I have an understanding of intelligence networking, right? And part of intelligence networking is not revealing your secrets, especially secrets that are embarrassing, right? So that's what it is. He says, I understand too, I was giving him crap. But I also want you to understand, in his defense, the economy in the UK is very hard. He lives in London. You kind of understand where I'm going with this, right? You know, it's almost like he had to, you know, do what he needs to do. Because there's not a lot of options in, you know, that part of the world. And unlike America, you see, in America, what I love about this country is that you, if you work hard enough, if you are cunning enough, if you are vicious enough, it will reward you handsomely. That's what I love about America. America rewards viciousness, okay? And I've reaped the benefits of that. I've reaped the benefits of viciousness, working in the car industry, right? Owning car lots, selling cars, right? I've reaped the benefits off of the viciousness that comes with that, because anybody that knows anything about selling cars knows that there's a vicious cycle that comes with that, okay? The viciousness that I displayed in, you know, the corporate world, right? Making vast networks from sports management all the way up to politics, working with state assemblymen. Janu says Tate became a Muslim for support of Muslim people. I tend to agree there's something to that too. He says, hey, Kyrie, Christmas Eve is tomorrow. I don't really care. Janu says he became a Muslim because he escaped to Dubai. You know what? There's a lot of theory in that, right? And I said yesterday that I'm going to be very careful about that because there was a story with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where he ran across one of his soldiers by the name of Osama ibn Zayed, right? Ironically, his name was Osama, right? At the time of the Prophet Muhammad, 1400 years ago. So Osama bin Zayed sliced up an enemy after the enemy surrendered and said, I am now a Muslim. Allah illallah makes a shahada in front of him and this and that, and then he slices him anyway. The Prophet reprimanded Osama bin Zayed. You want to know why he reprimanded Osama bin Zayed? The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, can you see what was in his heart? Osama bin Zayed says, well, of course not. Well, then how do you know he was lying or not? So in other words, in Islam, our rule of law is this. We believe you until we find evidence not to believe you. In other words, we'll take what you say for face value. If you say that you profess you have the love for God and his prophets, including Muhammad, peace be upon him, Jesus, peace be upon him, and etc., if that is your that is the line that you're pushing, then we believe it until you show us otherwise and you show a sign of kuffar or a sign of disbelieving. Okay? So, yeah, the Prophet reprimanded him. So, going back to Andrew Tate, I don't know what's in Andrew Tate's heart. Have I heard Andrew Tate say, I am a Muslim? Yes. But guess what? Marty, just like what you did with Zayn, we judge by what is the apparent. You understand? In Islam, we judge by what is the apparent. So, if you're judging him for gambling, I mean, can I really get mad at you for that? Because you're judging by what is the apparent. And it is apparent, and he's making it apparently clear that he's gambling. So, how can I really, fault you for that? Right? Like, there's only so much that you can defend. Toothbud says, Kyrie, how do you feel about Muhammad? And no, that never happened, my man. You know, there is a chronological order that is being misplaced in trying to understand this story. So he says the problem with Islam is that it never moved with times. Yeah, because we never really changed our book. That's a part of it. He says if Christianity went to the Old Testament, they would be susceptible to barbarity. Well, I also argue that is a reason why a lot of Christians are also passive, right? With the exceptions of MMA fighters and people who've served in the military, right? The majority of Christians outside of that are pacifists, right? So at some point, you got to think, man, maybe I need to, listen up to the, to the Old Testament. You know what I mean? Go back to the Old Testament. He says, oh, that's not true. Please educate me. What do you mean, what's not true? There's a lot of Christians that are pacifists, right? Do you see any Mormons other than Tyler Robinson who banged up Charlie Kirk that they commit, any acts of violence or any acts of defense towards violence in any kind of capacity? I mean, that's kind of difficult to, that's kind of difficult to, pinpoint out, but yeah. Let's see here. Janus says fair. Okay, shout out to you. He says, I remember you from the Guru streams and Rigo streams a while back. Yes, man, shout out to you, Zayaban. Yes, I used to be in Rigo streams when before I heard that he was a pedo. But yeah, you know what I mean. So all right, let's hear what these people have to say about Andrew Tate right now.
from a crazy human? Click the link and get paid. Use Case Connect's AI and guarantee yourself maximum payout for your accident. Case Connect uses AI to compare your injury and give you an instant estimate in seconds.
Something glorious happened over the weekend, which is that in Dubai, I don't know if JR knew that this is on the rundown, Andrew Tate.
Keep in mind, this is a liberal website that we're dealing with, right? The damage report, obviously, from the Young Turks. So keep in mind, this is a liberal website. So
Decided.
he says, question, am I destined for hellfire? Yes, if you do not repent to Allah. If you are a Christian and you live a life of Christianity, you believe in God, I don't think so. But if you are a heathenist, all right, here's the thing, right? Here's something I find really strange, right? Why is it that Hindus love Israel so much when Israel doesn't even love people that are not for one God? You know what? If there's one religion that the Jews actually really care for, it is Islam, because we actually believe in one God. But yeah, if you're a Christian and you believe in one God, why not? With certain sects of Christianity that practice, you know, the Father, the Son, the Holy Trinity, so you're trying to like ascribe God partners. You know, I don't know about that. I think that is, that is where I think that the line is drawn with hellfire and Jannah. Jannah is heaven for Arabic.
You know what? I'm strong. I'm a fighter. I'm lethal. I'm going to get in the ring and I'm going to fight. It didn't go very well for him. Now, unfortunately, we can't show you the video of him getting absolutely busted up, getting his clock cleaned, whatever metaphor you want. But we have some stills. Here's one. This is a great moment where fist meet face. I like that. That's good. That's Andrew Tate against Chase Damore. You have this one. He thought, well, you know, standing up didn't work for me. Maybe if I bend over. No, that didn't work either. And then, okay, being in the middle of the ring, that's too dangerous. I'll get in the corner. No, that didn't work for me either. And he just got... And he eventually, like, it's one thing if you get just walloped and you go down, but he instead just ended up, like, bent over, hanging on the other man, which I think is just symbolically perfect for Andrew Tate there. And so that didn't go well for him either. And in terms of what this means for boxing, I don't know or care. I don't care about any of it. I just like...
All right, so there you go. That's the first indication right there, right? You know, this is not a man that cares about the sport of boxing, the novelty of it, the fact that there are men out there who are willing to put it all on the line, right? Risk it all and potentially get serious brain damage in the long term, right? So once again, this is the reality of these types of people that I need you to understand, okay?
Me, for all of you, that a guy as reprehensible as Andrew Tate got punched in the face a lot, because I think that should happen as much as possible. He should just be punched in the face in the boxing ring, consensually and all that. Just a lot, over and over and over, punched in the...
Yeah, but here's the thing. What if he decides to punch you in the face over and over and over again? I mean, doesn't this guy here's the thing, guys. Yeah, you're allowed to criticize, but you need to understand that, hey, you know what? These guys can whoop your ass, right? You know, here's the thing, right? Me, as a trained athlete, a fighter, somebody who's actually won, you know, trophies and medals in the fight world, you know, I would be very cautious of calling these people pussies or this, that, and the other. Man, listen, I know what it's like to get in there. It would be very hard to say that. He says, yeah, this dude sounds like a casual. For sure. Yeah, this is exactly what this dude sounds like.
Face, nothing good should ever happen to him. This should happen as much as possible for us. And JR, just wanted your thoughts about it. Andrew Tate getting punched a whole bunch.
Well, both he and Jake Paul apparently had a bad weekend. I'm sure you feel that.
I
too.
did.
The only problem here is they must have thought they were fighting Donald Trump because both kept dropping to their knees. It was really weird how that kept happening with both of them. They were like, is that Donnie there? Oh, let me drop to a knee. Oh, let me drop to a knee again. Except, you know, and instead of them getting beat up around the face.
He says, when Paul fights, it's casual season. That's really what it is. He says, anybody dissing Top G and Jake is dumb. They would never get in the ring. Sons 16, yes, that is perfectly true. That is a fact. I like that you said that. That is, I mean, look, man, that's why I said, look, you're allowed to have an entitled opinion as an observer, whether casual or hardcore like us, right? But you got to do it with a caution and understand that these guys could whoop your behind.
They use their face for other things when they're in front of Donald Trump. Anyways.
This must be boxing lingo because I don't follow what you're saying. But
check out TYT Sports with Rick Strom and I. We'll break it down very, very, very clearly. But I did hear that this guy, this tough guy, this alpha male, he talked about how he's now 40 years old, and you never know if you can do it if you don't try. Well, I mean, I wish someone would have told him to try.
He forgot that part. Well, it's hard to remember to try after you get punched a couple times, I guess. But anyway, look, so this is beyond my knowledge of boxing or the individual people, but I am told by people who know that apparently the guy he boxed against is not known to be particularly good or anything. Again, I'm not going to judge him. I don't know. But that, like, he kind of picked someone that he could beat, and he still got whooped.
Toothbud says they've clearly never been in a fight in their lives. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, right? He says, I don't really like both, but in a ring, it's a different story. Yeah, no, that shows me that you have a good understanding of the sport, because it's, look, whenever these guys fight, right, there's a lot of casuals that are going to give their takes, right, and it's just really annoying because, by the end of it, let's just be honest, right, a lot of these dudes don't know what the hell they are talking about. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. When Conor McGregor and Khabib fought, there was a lot of casuals on both sides, right? The Irish and the Muslim side. All the people that were against Khabib, believe it or not, some of the Muslims that were against Khabib were like really hardcore fundamentalist Salafists, right? Because, they don't like Ramzan Kadyrov. They look at Ramzan Kadyrov as al-Jabari, right? Al-Jabari is Arabic for the tyrant or dictator, right? And so they saw Khabib as a representation of that. Okay, Khabib jumps over the cage, right? After that fight, gets suspended. They hear on the news, they're like, oh, Khabib got suspended for 6 months. Ha, 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 ha. That's what he gets for disobeying Allah and, being part of the, the dictatorship of Ramzan Kadyrov. Ha, 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 ha. He got 6 months. Little did these idiot casuals know, okay, that a lot of guys take 6 months off in between fights. Okay, like this is normal, especially at a championship level. But a lot of the casuals are not going to know that. Toothbud says, yes, absolutely. I don't like Jake and was happy to see him get dropped. But the dude is definitely tough to keep getting up and not get slept by a heavyweight.
Which I love. And I also love strategically, like, I don't throw compliments Andrew Tate's way very often, but strategically, I do have to give it to him. Is this concept in boxing of having like a glass chin, and he avoided that by having his surgically removed. No chin at all makes it harder, you would think, to be knocked out, but it wasn't enough in the end. But anyway, a lot of people are making similar comments. We can show up this photo of him afterward. He's just, you're not good at this. And that's fine. Just stick to the stuff you're good at, which is ensnaring women in effectively
Oh, here we go, man. Again with the women thing, right? It makes me go back to the whole John Jones thing, right? And the whole Chris Brown, the whole Gervonta Tate Davis thing. Like, a lot of you like to say, oh, well, he's a woman beater or this and that, this, that, and the other. Okay, go fight him. Go fight John Jones. Go pull up in Baltimore right now and ask Gervonta Davis, get up out of your house right now. Let's run the fade. Would you do it? Maybe some of you will, but, some of you are dumb enough to take that fade and will probably get your ass beat, right? Okay, so you care about women's rights so much. Go fight Gervonta Davis. Go do something about it. As a matter of fact, go to prison, same prison as P. Diddy. You don't like the fact that he dragged, Cassie around? Go fight Diddy in prison. See how that works out for you. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of you that could probably beat up Diddy. I mean, he's no John Jones. He's no Gervonta Tate Davis. He's certainly no Andre Arlovsky, right? But that's really all there is to it. He says this guy's a snowflake. He needs to take his feelings out of the Jake Paul, and Tate would beat up the average guy. Yes, that is really what it is, right? Look, Chase was an athlete. He was a Division III college football player. So it's not like this guy was a complete wimp or a complete wussy in front of Andrew Tate. I mean, this was an absolutely formidable opponent. He says, I'd fight Diddy, not John Jones, though. There you go, right? And if you do fight him, don't do it because, well, I'm doing this for women's rights, man. I'm here. First of all, that's a dumb take if you are going to do that. Because here's the thing, right? If you're saying that you're doing this for women or this and that, you don't even know the context or the reason behind why they are fighting or why they got it on or why they had X, Y, and Z going on. You don't know any of that. So for you to do that, it's just asinine to the highest degree. But on any regard, yeah, let's go back to what this man is talking about right here.
Consensual sexploitation. Like, do you keep...
He says, not just saying it would be an easy fight against Diddy. Okay.
Keep doing that illegal thing that you've done and you've been investigated for, and I'm sure that'll work out much better.
Which, by the way, he was acquitted for. I had my own suspicions as well. I thought, all right, you know what? Maybe Andrew is in that field, and he's willing to do that. But again, you never know. He says Tate was a champion in kickboxing when he were a Christian. Now he's a loser Muslim. I mean, look, I'm sorry, Fresh, but that's a very stupid take to make, right? That's a very stupid take to make. It's called the attribution of what is the word I'm looking for here? When you are a hostage in time. What is that word I'm looking for? What is that word when you are a hostage in time? Okay, recency bias, okay? That's what it is, man. It is literally, a confirmation bias that you are saying, right? And also recency confirmation bias. That's really the best way to put it. Like what you're saying right now is recency confirmation bias. None of what you're saying right now holds weight at any college or metric studies or anything that deals with people that have, let's say, peer review studies or anything. See, here's the thing, right? This is why a lot of you are dumb, right? Because, you don't understand that there's a thing called peer review studies. There's a thing called confirmation bias. And in this case, there's a thing called confirmation recency bias. Yeah, you're talking about Andrew Tate lost the fight when he was a Muslim and he was a champion when he was a Christian. And that's another stupid comment. He was not a Christian. He was an atheist. And I can pull up videos during that time of when he was a champion to show that. He says, at Toothbuds, nothing. LOL, just making Kyrie cry some more. He says, Fresh, what does that have to do with fighting ability and time in and time out? Yeah, that's fine, bro. You can try and do that with me, but by the end of the day, as long as you know what the truth is, I'm not going to go and, beat up a dead horse to try and prove that point.
For you. Anyway, yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. I'm glad to see bad people get punched in the face as hard as possible.
Maybe we should start calling both of these guys chins. Just like I'm calling Cash Patel patches because of his FBI patches that he was begging for before he went to those press conferences. It's chins Tate and chins Paul and patches Patel. I mean, Donald Trump's not the only one that can come up with some nicknames for folks. Yeah, I think it's well deserved.
Exactly. I don't know much about Jake Paul. Like I know that I've sort of.
All right, there you go. There you go. You don't know much about Jake Paul. That's enough for me to shut you off right now. And thank you for the so-called, take on this matter. You don't know Jake Paul. You brought up Cash Patel. You brought up Donald Trump, which means you want to make this about a political thing. Like, oh, look at Jake Paul and Andrew Tate. They are both Trump supporters. So I'm going to try and correlate this and make this into a political angle. Then again, it's not like I don't do that, right? It's not like I don't make an MMA angle into a political angle and then try to get in their world as well. I mean, I kind of do the same thing, right? I mean, these guys are real political analysts, right? Me, I'm an MMA analyst trying to be a political analyst. But at the same time, I do have experience in politics. I've worked with state assemblymen before, so there's that. All right, let's hear what others are saying about fraud check. Lawrence Usuke, okay, a British boxer, trained with Anthony Joshua. I don't think Anthony Joshua, but trained with Team GB. He was in the British national boxing team. So let's hear his take, right? Who to hear better than a British Olympian at boxing? He says, how does he know Tate is bad? What do you mean? Are you talking about the news guy? I don't know. I mean, he says, yeah, real political analysts work for politicians, not TV. Real political analysts work for politicians, not TV. Okay, so I guess I am a real political analyst then, if you think about it, right? Because I have experience working with politicians. So, yeah, there you go.
Andrew Tate's ego got destroyed. Misfits' new CEO is beaten by Chase Demore, and we need to talk about it. I've got a lot to say on this one, so fasten your seatbelt. If you're new to the channel, my name's Lawrence Oswicki, a professional boxer, and also former member of GB amateur boxing team. I'm sorry, but I've got to be honest. Andrew Tate got beaten off the worst guy on Misfits. I know I'm coming in strong, all guns blazing, but can I just remind you of what he was beaten by? I'm sorry.
This is always the video that they are playing whenever they want to emphasize just how horrible, right? They want to play that video every time they want to emphasize how horrible Chase is.
But that's embarrassing. Andrew Tate's a former kickboxing champion, and the worst of it is, I think Tate chose him because he thought fighting a heavyweight will get us the most credit and boost my ego. He thought, how can I boost my ego even more? I know, I'll jump up in weights, fight a heavyweight. When I win, I'll get all the respect. You know, jumping in the deep end. But really, Chase them all. It's jumping in the shallow end, in the kids' pool, in the top it. He drowned. He's the new CEO of Misfits, taking over KSI, the new face of Misfits. And he embarrassed himself at the first hurdle. He's been involved for all of 5 minutes, and he's failed. KSI must be laughing his bandana off. If he didn't have such a big ego and strong opinions, I'd probably give him some credit. But especially the way he went on after the...
That's a good point, right? Even though this guy, this British boxer right here, this British boxing Olympian is not a political analyst, right? Even he has the insight to understand that people are now using all the things that Andrew Tate says against him as some sort of like, see, you know, this is why everything that you said wasn't worth anything. But still, by the end of the day, there's still a lot of bitter women out there. There's still a lot of women out there that take child support from, you know, men, you know, at a very spiteful level. There's still women out there that don't know how to behave, that don't know how to be wives, don't know how to cook. By the end of the day, Andrew Tate is right, and that is irregardless of a boxing match. The only thing is that a lot of you want to politicize a boxing match as a way to, you know, use that against him or his ideas. Gordo Tech says, man, I got to watch the Tate fight. Haven't watched it yet. You're in for a treat. But we'll probably see some highlights here on this reaction video.
The fight, still trying to get the moral high ground. He was given it. I've had a long time away. I was on house arrest. I'm 40. All the
Sean Boy says, hey, man, shout out to you, Sean Boy, straight from Ireland, my man. Shout out to the Irish, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, me, as a person that grew up in Libya, man, you know for a fact that the Libyans were strapping up the Irish to fight the British military. Bro, listen, that is the type of background I come from. Okay, you guys need to understand that. Okay, my uncles sold straps to the Irish so that they can fight the British Empire in the 1980s. Okay, that's the type of culture that I come from. Bro, you know what I mean? And then on top of that, I got the West Coast culture, the East Coast culture. Shout out to Ireland. Shout out to the East Coast of America. Shout out to the West Coast. Shout out to Ohio. My man Marty from Ohio. And shout out to Fresh from Parts Unknown.
excuses. Well said. I'm not making any excuses. What he should have said, I'm having a pity party. It was embarrassing and I'm pathetic. He was trying to give Chase all the credit to make himself look good. But there's no moral high ground. After such a disgusting performance, watching it, I was literally sick in my mouth. It was that...
Brother, when you say I know, yes, I know history far, you know, beyond that. But this particular history, I was actually living it. Right? You know, like I've actually, like when I was living in Libya, I've actually been around real IRA people when I was like 1 year old. I was born around that. You know what I mean? I was born around revolutions, you know, rebels, terrorism and all of that. And then I came to the United States and became a Marine, and there you go. He says, oh, and don't forget Texas. Dude, yes. Shout out to Texas. By the way, I got a homie in Texas who does like this roofing company, very successful roofing company. It's Storm Miller, right? So, you know, not to be confused with Marty Miller, but I did go to school in Old Bridge, New Jersey with a guy named Jay Miller, and he is the owner of Storm Miller Roofing Company right now. So shout out to him. You know, maybe I should go hit him up, you know, so that he can, you know, sponsor me, right? What do you guys think, right? You know, Miller Storm Roofing, right? That would be great because my moderator's name is, you know, Marty Miller anyway. So he says, yeah, what's it like to visit Libya as a European in 2025? Do you know? Well, here's the thing. It's almost, here's the thing, right? I have friends that are Libyan, like Libyan in terms of like ethnically Libyan, right? Like I'm not necessarily ethnically Libyan per se, right? Even though I do have Berber, you know, ancestry in my DNA, but you know, most of my family in my Arab side comes from Egypt or Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's that Egypt-Saudi Arabia connection where my lineage comes from. But you know, Libya was just a place where my dad had found an opportunity to, you know, have a business and to have, you know, work primarily, believe it or not, in government positions in their treasury. Right? But that's another story. My dad was actually jailed by the Libyan government because of, you know, being accused of embezzlement, right? That's a whole nother story for another time, right? Maybe I could play my dad in a movie one day, you know what I mean? Egyptian, you know, Saudi accountant, you know, getting flagged for embezzlement, right? Like that's a story in and of itself right there, all surrounded by the IRA and everything, you know, and you know, the IRA back in the days, man, they blew up the head of the British command, the head of the British, the head British commander, Lord Mountbatten, who was also the cousin of Queen Elizabeth. He was out in a boating trip, and then next thing you know, they blew up his ship out of nowhere, right? You know, but it was sad. I mean, there was kids involved on top of that. Sean Boy says, is it like safe to go for Europeans? I never heard of someone going to Libya on a holiday. Yeah, you know what? If you're a mercenary, or if you have, let's say, the SAS or Delta Force, you know, Army Rangers, or, you know, Navy SEALs, MI6, CIA agents, yeah, you would be safe. But I think the ones that are of Libyan heritage, they tell me they go back and forth all the time, and it seems, you know, he says, yeah, it was a retaliation. It's sad, but that's always happens. Yeah, you know, just like what happened, right? A few of my homies, you know, got shot at at a birthday party. Very well-known news right now that's going on in Stockton, right? Well, kids were involved, right? And then, you know, people were very sad about this and that and the other. But I look at it like, you know, man, as wrong as this is, unfortunately, this is also what happens in real life war outside of some hood shit, right? You know, people actually, you know, kids actually, unfortunately, pass away as a result of that. Sean Boy says it was unfair, it's wrong, but it's always happens. Yes, that's the sad part about it.
Not bad. I've had to go in the sick. I'm having therapy. It was a hard watch. Terrible. I literally feel he should be sent back to jail just for that performance. I put my hands up, I got it wrong. I thought he would have won, but I couldn't have guessed he would deteriorate that much. I do always say you can't be Father Time, but he looks like he was beaten by it twice. I was definitely fooled by the sparring footage I found. Not that I was in prep.
Yeah, he says, I know what you mean. Yeah, because after that Stockton shooting, by the way, also something that I've covered extensively on this channel as well, you know, a lot of people were condemning the opposition, which I get, right? But here's the thing, right? Nobody cooperated with the police, right? Because here's what it is, right? It's the laws of the jungle, right? Nobody in the streets talk what happens or this and that. You know, will it get handled on the low? I mean, you know, what do you expect gang members to do, right? This is a gang war, right? You know, nobody talks to the police. And if you get violated, then you violate them back. And that's the rules of the jungle. And that's what it is. And by the way, for the first time, I'm actually allowed to talk about this, right? Because there are reports that were saying that those people that were shot up in Stockton, they were actually shooting back. Okay, because according to police evidence, allegedly, they said that the weapons that were thrown on top of the roofs were by the defenders, right? The people that were getting shot at the birthday party. So for those of you that were talking bad about 8th Street guys getting shot at or this and that and the other and not doing anything about it, you don't know what's going on. And, you know, real gangsters out here in California stay with a strap all day long and, you know, and handle business. So they did what they did. But all right, back to this.
Because he was fighting beginners, but I did still expect more, considering the opponent he had. Andrew Tate had 86 fights. I thought that experience counted for something, but it's evaporated, disappeared, quicker than Bonnie Blue's knickers. I can't stop, but I have been made aware the kickboxing organisation he fought under isn't all that, not as good as I thought. I'm not discrediting his kickboxing achievements. I just personally thought the level was a lot higher. Please feel free to correct me.
Yeah, I'm going to correct you on that, right? Because here's the thing, right? In kickboxing, you can at least rely on your teep kicks, your head kicks, and not only that, your spinning attacks if you are elusive enough or athletic enough to do that, right? So you can get away with not punching in kickboxing, and then you can set up with kicks. You can sometimes use the punches as just a back burner, right? Not necessarily something that you use as a main weapon, right? Not like the conventional type of MMA fighters that, let's say, use boxing or something to that extent, right? You know, but yeah, all right, let's go back to what he's saying about Andrew Tate now.
Keep me in the comment section, because I'm not in the scratch with kickboxing organisations. Before the fight, the arrogance, the cheek, Tate felt disrespected, that Chase thought he could beat him. He was smashed to pieces. If Chase was slightly better, he would have got the job done.
I don't know if that's considered arrogant just because he rebuttals the idea that Chase could beat him. I don't know about all that.
Early in the fight, the first 2 rounds, Tate did start decent, then he gassed. Where was the experience and the cardio? Did he leave it on house arrest? 2 rounds is madness. All that experience. If nothing else, he must know how to get himself fit. He had plenty of time to get ready, prepare. He knew what was at stake. You know, his reputation and misfits. I knew from the sparring footage, coming from kickboxing, he made a lot of mistakes. Chin in the air, low hands, balance issues. But that fight there really exposed how bad his boxing was. To be honest, it was more of a wrestling match, of who could put the chin the highest.
And you know what the problem with that wrestling match is? Andrew allowed it because Chase was constantly susceptible to those motions. What Tate should have done was mitigate those motions by backing him up and pushing him with his hand out and keeping the jab, you know, leaving him at bay.
We all knew that Chase wasn't great, but Tate is on the same level. When it comes to Chase, he's such a specimen, a former college football player. He's an athlete.
See, there you go. I have mentioned this, right? Former college athlete. Division III, though. Okay, not Division I. And for those of you that are not familiar with college sports, I mean, you look at the numbers. There's D1, there's D2, and then there's D3. So there you go. That kind of gives you an idea of where Chase is at.
But he's clearly not being coached, because I've never seen a sportsman look so bad in another sport. It's so frustrating, because I coach myself, and when I see him, I can see potential if he's trained properly. The waist, it's like he's been trained by Stevie Wonder. And to be totally honest, I think he would do a better job. If anybody's got a number for Stevie, please pass it on to Chase. Really, he's done well to get this far, but I hope he finds a better coach soon. But regardless, he's so big and strong and awkward, he's difficult to deal with. The first few rounds, Chase weathered the storm and basically wrestled, made it messy, and used his size against Tate. And it basically worked, because after 2 rounds, Tate was finished. Did I mention it was embarrassing? At times, Chase was manhandling Tate like a child. Tate should know, had he used that experience, you don't wrestle, let a bigger man lean on you, because you'll come second best. It was probably that ego that made him think he could beat Chase in his own game. It wasn't pretty. It was like watching 2 pigs fight. Chase basically smothered him and outworked him. Despite the lack of technique from Chase, he's still a big guy. You know, just swinging those arms are gonna hurt. After the first 2 rounds, Tate had some success. Had Chase been 5% better, been taught something, he could have stopped him. if there's any young kids watching, take this advice. Boxing's dangerous. You know, take it seriously. And most of all, find a good coach. At the very least, someone who can teach the basics, boxing fundamentals, and someone with experience. After the fight, Chase did call out Tommy Fury. They're about on the same level, but to be honest...
Yeah, look, I think Tommy Fury would beat his ass on that one, to be quite honest with you. Like, yeah, Tommy Fury would absolutely beat his ass on that one.
I don't know what Tommy's doing these days. I don't think he wants to be a boxer. You know, he's just a Love Island reject. The so-called real boxer ran from Darren Till, the coward, because Till joked if he was losing the fight, he would just kick him. Before a fight, it's back and forth. Trash talk. Tommy Fury, he's a pussy. And I seen Tommy's last fight, he was shite. And I also seen on Twitter, HS Tiki Toki calling out Chase. And that's a fight I wouldn't mind seeing. They're the same sort of level. They're both good talkers. The build-up would be fire. Let's have a quick listen to what he had to say.
Feel bad for Tate. He's built a big legacy and just lost it all. All the loss, losing to that Love Island juice head.
He's not wrong. I said earlier, all those fights, all that experience, getting beat off Chase is erased it all. If that was me, all those years of hard work, sacrifice to lose the Chase, I'd feel like I'd failed at life. I honestly don't think I could leave the house. The brand that he's created, what he sells online, he's lost all credibility.
Secondly now, Chase, you are not hard, mate. Even in victory, you're still a simp.
HS also talks about Chase post-fight.
Hey, this man works every single day on his podcast. Come here, fight, do that shit, man. I don't care what anybody says about this guy. He's a fucking legend, man.
I don't even know what to say to that reaction. But at the same time, a lot of people doubted him and he proved them wrong. So I kind of get it.
Why are you crying when you just won? Why are you going, oh, I just beat the hardest man in the world? You are, mate.
I did mention in my previous video.
Yeah, look, I don't agree with that diminishing him just because he's happy. Diminishing Chase more just because he's happy about his win. I mean, let the man celebrate his win, for crying out loud.
Chase had talked about people laughing at him because of the viral clip, and he'd been putting in the work, you know, to improve. So it does make sense. The emotion just came out. Beating such a big name, it's a big deal. It's bragging rights.
Anyway, listen, you're on my radar now, lad. So get training. I will punch your head in, mate, yeah? Your head in, lad.
I do hope that fight can happen. I think it'll be tasty. And Andrew Tate, what can I say? I don't think he should fight again. 86 fights and beaten by Chase. It's the end of the road. I think he said after the fight he wants to fight again, but I really don't think he should. If he got knocked out early, got caught, there'd be an argument. He could say he was beaten off a naturally bigger guy, but to get outboxed, fought, hustled by Chase viral them all. For KSI, I bet it was great seeing Tate eat humble pie. Tate's return could...
Yeah, but it was not KSI that did that by the end of the day, and that's something you guys have to understand, right? Never celebrate another man's win that isn't yours, but also never celebrate another man's downfall, because one day you could have your own downfall, and karma is a bitch. And with that in mind, listen, that is all that I have for this one right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one, and I'm going to leave it off with a members only stream, or a members only video that I have. He says, Victory says, Tate tried saying he hasn't fought in 10 years, but he hasn't been training and sparring. He didn't fight not in 10 years. His last fight was like 2017 or something like that. So I don't know if I buy that, man. That sounds like a false, narrative he's spewing right there. But on any regard, listen, I'm gonna leave off with a video that I did 6 days ago regarding Jake Paul and how his career in boxing is going to be over. So go check this out on this outro. I will see you in the next one, inshallah. What's that guy's name? Anderson Cooper. All right, so we are now in the 3-minute mark. We're going to start at exactly 3:20. So 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What it seems is that the Jake Paul boxing experiment is coming to an end. Now, why do I say that it's coming to an end? I think that he just pushed the limits of what he can do with this whole entire boxing experiment that he has going on. going from becoming a social media influencer boxer, right, and into the realm of potential contendership, whether that would be in the cruiserweight championship area or the heavyweight championship area. Anthony Joshua is the man to get himself past that level. Now, can he? The answer is, quite frankly, no. I think that the size difference, the skill discrepancy is going to show in this fight. Now, is it possible that Jake Paul can improve? Yes. That is a possibility, but more on that. We're going to talk about that along with Ebro from Hot 97 getting fired, because it sort of correlates to this whole entire dynamic of old media versus new media. Now, who is the representative of new media? It is none other than Jake Paul. Who is the representative of old media? Well, old media can consist of, let's say, Tucker Carlson when he was in Fox News, Bill O'Reilly when he was in Fox News. What's that guy's name? Anderson Cooper from CNN, and Don Lemon when they were all in CNN. This is old media. Walter Cronkite back in the old school ABC days, or was it CBS? Who knows? But on any regard, one thing that you have to understand is that this is a battle between old and new media. Now, I got to tell you, I got a bone to pick with Ebro, right? He went after my man Stupid Young, right? Long Beach, Cambodian Crip rapper from the Asian Boy Crips, right? Well, he went after him because he was using the N-word, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, look, I understand your war cry to that because he's using the N-word and he's not a black artist. I understand that. Me personally, I would not use the word, but at the same time, I got homies that use the word, and a lot of them are also non-black homies that use the word, and for the reason that they come from a culture that allows them to say that. But let's just really be honest about this, right? We know when somebody is being racist when they're saying it with a hard R. Nobody is being malicious and racist when they're saying it with an A in the end. Again, as a Muslim and as somebody that tries to perfect their speech as humanly possible, it is not something that I am for at all, right? But at the same time, as a person who advocates for free speech, allowing people to say what they want in terms of having a better education, having a better understanding, having a better communication with your fellow man, that I'm all for, right? Like, why do you say that? Well, let's find out why. Is it because you come from a culture that allows this? Is it because you were used to talking like this? That was the bone that I had to pick with Ebro. But other than that, the one thing that I will say about Ebro is this, right? He is the representation of old media. I want to see how he does in the world of YouTube. All right, so that is the end of this video right here. If you want to see the rest of that, go to the members section only, okay? Come join my members section only for some exclusive videos you will not see anywhere else. And with that in mind, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one, inshallah.
Isn't about reasonability as a sign of wokeness. This is an intellectual sloth way of living. Blessing to you, my British man, Sacramento, CA. Can I say, Kyrie is a fantastic MMA career, and I'm not just glazing him, because he has obviously illuminated the fact that I'm an intellectual giant. Shout out to you, sir. But Kyrie does have a phenomenal YouTube channel, really good career. He has a beard that anyone would be jealous over, especially me, as somebody who cannot grow one. Shout out to Kyrie, really good career. Give the guy a sub. He definitely deserves it. Another person who has a reasonable, well thought out takes. Frankly, I still have some friends in the